going to jump into week one. What I want to do is talk about each game individually, talk about some strengths and weaknesses, just a couple of seconds, couple of minutes on each game, and then we will dive into what the picks are. I'm going to pick every game winner and loser, and then give you some locks and leans and some maybe some stayaways on things like total and spread and even money line. Um, can give you a couple of locks, tell you where I'm going to be putting at least 2 units on all of my locks. I may sprinkle in some things on my lean. And then my plan is every single week, every single game, putting it into a parlay and see if we can't hit this week. It's going to be a 16 game parlay. So we'll see what those odds are and go from there. So let's dive right into it, guys. Share my screen. Hopefully, you guys can see all this really well. Looks like our first game is going to be Dallas and Philadelphia. It's Philadelphia obviously just won the Super Bowl. It's a divisional game. It's at home. Be a lot of excitement in the building. Division game is going to bring even more electricity. It's a Thursday night game, so a lot of things going on, a lot of hype. Um, Typically, when you look at divisional games, they're going to stay within 7 points. So when you got Philadelphia given 6.5 points, there's going to be a stretch there. Now, the Eagles are a 60% win probability according to PFF. I think that's probably a little low. I think that they win this game. I don't know that Michael will even be on the field. If he is on the field, um, how acclimated is he and how much of a game record is he? I think that he will want to step up if he is there. I'm just not confident at this point that he is going to be there as of August the 22nd. So, being that we're doing this a little bit early just to make sure that we can get all the content out for you guys so you guys can lock your bets in, um, I am going to take Philadelphia as my winner. And I will say that the NFC East, as a Commanders fan, the NFC East always plays tough. Um, it's a wild thing. It's normally either a blowout or super close. There's none of those 7 point games. It's a 2 or 3 point game, or it's a 20 point drubbing. And I don't think with a healthy deck in week one, and the weapons that they have, along with Philadelphia coming back, having a high, going through, getting their rings and the banner and everything else that goes along with it. I just don't think that week one, Philadelphia is going to be hitting on all cylinders. I think Dallas may have a little bit of rust as well, but they have things to prove. They're out to go get the Super Bowl champion in week one. I could see a scenario where Dallas actually wins this game. um, I don't think it'll happen. I think that it's probably a 70% chance. And that's why I'm going to pick Philadelphia to win the game. I do have a lean at about a 75% confidence for Dallas plus 6.5. So moving on to the next game, Kansas City at the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a game, I believe it's in Brazil. I don't know that off the top. I think it is the Brazil game. I know it's out of the country. So that's going to be a little bit different. Travel for both teams, equal footing. So neither team is truly a home team. So there's no real value there with the Chargers getting any type of edge as a home field. Um, the Chiefs week one, home underdogs, not really important, right? Typically, home underdogs in week one only cover about 40% of the time. I don't see it happening here. I would probably lay up to 5 or 6 on the Chiefs. I just don't necessarily trust anything that's going on with Jim Harbaugh in the first game against the second best team in the league based on our power rankings. So I'm going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. It's probably going to be a common theme throughout the season. Um, I am going to lock in and put 2 units on our KC -3 as well. But KC will 100% be my team in the pick for the parlay. Moving on to Cincinnati and Cleveland. This is a funny game. There's some plus money out there if you like the trend. Cincinnati, they're playing their starters more and more in the preseason this year to try to rectify this situation, but it's very well documented that Cincinnati does not win in September. Um, Very rarely, at least. And Joe Burrow seems to be probably the healthiest he's been in a few years. Both are wide receivers got signed to contracts because that's what Joe Burrow wanted to have happen. Cincinnati's got a lot of good things going on for them. If you're looking for any plus money, though, Cincinnati does not win games in September. So, with that being said, you're getting plus 200 money betting on the Cleveland. I am not going to be putting that bet in. I think that this bucks the trend. I'm going to pick Cincinnati to win this game. I do not like them covering the 5.5. I can see a situation where they do. And I can also see a situation where this is an under just because the Browns are anemic, but it's the Cincinnati Bengals. Their defense is garbage, hot garbage, absolute hot garbage. And we don't know if they're going to have their pass rusher back as his holdout is still out going out there. So, with all that being said, I still think Cincinnati's going to win this game. I don't think that they're going to need their defense to be great against Cleveland and Joe Flacco for week 1. But I think that the only value on playing this game individually would be to put it in a Cleveland money line. I'm going to buck that completely, and I'm going to pick Cincinnati as the team because I would say that there are probably about a 75% chance of winning this game. Should be closer to 90 to 95%. But with the trends and things like that, that's where I'm coming up with about a 75% chance. I don't think that there's any more than a 20% chance. Cleveland does actually win this game, but you are getting plus 200 on your money. So if you want to do a little sprinkle, it's always fun to sprinkle when you're getting plus money. As far as the Giants and the Commanders, again, not a game that I'm going to be betting on just because the Commanders have a 55% win probability according to PFF. The Giants' secondary upgrades are going to challenge the Washington Commanders with in between the defensive line for the Giants and the upgrades that they've made to the secondary. I think that they can absolutely stifle the wide receiver core for the Washington Commanders. But I still think Jayden Daniels special. I think Jayden Daniels makes this a win for my Washington Commanders. I will 100% be including them in my parlay against the lowly Giants. I believe I have them ranked as my 31st or 32nd team in the league. I don't think Russell Wilson or Jackson Dart or anybody else that's on that team is a quality quarterback in week 1. Malik Neighbors is a beast. Their defensive line is absolutely a beast, even though it's somewhat unproven. I just think that the Commanders and what they're doing will handle this game. I don't know how confident I am in it being a shootout or Washington just dominating them, though. Both games last year that Washington played against New York were close. If New York had a kicker in the first game, they probably end up winning that game. And if Malik Neighbors doesn't drop a 4th down pass, they probably still win that game. So New York and Washington play close every single year. It is a home game for Washington that doesn't really mean anything out there at what's it called now, Western Field or whatever they're calling it nowadays. FedEx Field is what it really was. That doesn't really mean anything. Once Washington gets their stadium in 5 years or so, maybe home field advantage will mean something then. I love Jaden Daniels. I think he's special. I think he is not valuable as he should be, but is still a value in the MVP market. Um, they'll win the game. I think it will be a close game. I will not be sprinkling any money on my lean down there with the Giants +6. But if you're gonna bet this game, that's probably where I would go, thinking that this is going to be a close game. Moving on to Pittsburgh versus the New York Jets. This is Aaron Rodgers' revenge game, right? Coming back, I guess, right? Like, did he actually play for the Jets? I guess he did a little bit, but now he's here in Pittsburgh. Um, the Jets defense, really good. Steelers defense, always really good. Um, will Aaron Rodgers fall out a little bit? Possibly. Um, I don't necessarily think I'm scared of their running game by any stretch of the imagination now that they've just got Jalen Warren and Najee's moved on. So it's not a two-headed attack anymore. The Jets have Breece Hall, and that's great. They've got Garrett Wilson, but until Justin Fields proves anything to me, I don't think that I'm going to be picking them anytime soon. I like Justin Fields. I think that he can 100% be a quality quarterback. He just needs the right people. The people in the New York Jets organization are not the right people for any quarterback whatsoever. So I don't think that it's going to be a positive experience for him. Hopefully, he does get another shot somewhere else down the line, because I don't see this going very well for Fields out there in New York. But I will pick Pittsburgh as my winner. And I am actually going to lock in for another 2 units under 37.5. This is going to be a low scoring game. Even if Aaron Rodgers puts up 3 touchdowns, I don't know that the Jets even score this game. Um, Moving on, we got Arizona and New Orleans. And man, this is an ugly game. I think Arizona is probably the better team for sure. They're favored by 6 points, and that probably seems to be about right, maybe a little bit more. Um, their projected win totals at 8.5. They got to get wins. New Orleans doesn't even know who their quarterback's going to be yet. Their best quarterback on their team may actually be their coach with Kellen Moore. Um, yeah, the Saints are going to be bad this year, guys. And so I am completely fine going ahead and betting the Arizona Cardinals to not only win this game, but my lean is pretty close to a lock at 78% confidence level. I am going to lean Arizona -6 and may put a little sprinkle on that lean. Tampa Bay at Atlanta, another 1 o'clock game on Sunday, September the 7th. Falcons are a home underdog. Home underdogs cover 35% of the time, but comes down to the run game. I think that Bijan is going to have a good game against Tampa. Uh, Atlanta's defense, maybe, but Baker had a great year. He really did. I don't necessarily trust that Baker's a quality quarterback in the league. He's definitely not a top 10, or probably not even a top 15 if I were to start ranking him. In my personal opinion, Mike Evans, another year older, he's still a beast, right? But at the same time, he's another year older. They really, really had to try hard last year to make sure that he hit his 1,000 yards to keep that going. I think they'll do that again. They'll feed him. I like props with Mike Evans getting catches, getting his receptions prop and his yardage prop. Once those numbers come out, I'll be watching that. I think that he will be a focal point, especially early in the season, trying to hit that, break Jerry Rice's record for the streak of 1,000 yard seasons. So I like that. I am going to lean towards Atlanta. This is a division game, well, so the home dog. I like that. I'm going to go ahead and pick them as the winner. Lean, very slight lean. If you're going to bet it, I would go ahead, since I'm already putting um, a little bit of dough out there on Atlanta, make it win. Go ahead and take the 1.5. And if it's a super close game, you still got a chance, right? Last second field goal for Tampa to win by one. At least you still win that way. Carolina and Jacksonville. It's another ugly game. Man, there's a lot of 1 o'clock games on Sunday, the September 7th. But nonetheless, um, we're looking at the Carolina Panthers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags are a slight favor. Um, but when I look at my rankings and I look at kind of how I weight, I don't know that Jacksonville is 3 points better than Carolina. I'm not confident in Carolina. Um, I like Bryce Young. He got benched, then he got back in the game because of an injury or down the line in the season last year, and he showed promise. Um, he's an Alabama quarterback. He he's got some game to him. I don't know again that he's ever going to be a top 10 quarterback in the league, but he's young and he's learning. He's in the same system he was last year, so that's good for him. Jacksonville, I mean, they made a splash, right? They moved up in the draft and they traded for a pick that they could draft two players with only one pick. How's that going to work? I don't know. I think Jacksonville's playing games that they don't really need to play, right? Like they need to get back down to basics and find out, is Trevor Lawrence actually going to be what Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be? He's supposed to be that top five, top six quarterback in the league right now, as he was talked about when he was in Clemson. He has never been that. He's had a lot of things go against him as well with coaching and things like that, but he needs to show some promise. I have no idea what Travis Hunter is going to do this year, but I'm not 100% sold on Jacksonville, and I don't think that they're 3 points better than Carolina. I am going to go ahead and pick Carolina to win this game, uh, even though they're a road dog. I think that they have a good chance to do so. These are the games that screw my parlay up all the time because I got to pick every game, right? And I don't know. I say that this is a toss up, and that's why I'm leaning um, Carolina +3. I just feel like that key number of three is important. And if you're giving me 3 points on a toss up game, I'm going to take it every single time. That's why I lean Carolina +3 in that game. If you guys want to put a little bit of money on the spread. Moving on to Miami at Indianapolis. Man, Indianapolis, they decided that Daniel Jones was the guy. That's okay. That's fine. I think we all know what Daniel Jones is and what Daniel Jones can give you. And Daniel Jones is not playing the Washington Commanders this week. So Daniel Jones is probably not going to be that great. Um, Miami, same kind of situation, right? Tua, it used to be tank for Tua there for a little while. And that just really hasn't materialized. Tyreek Hill says that he still loves him and says he throws a beautiful ball. He's got accuracy. That's great. I think that the Dolphins are undervalued in this spot based on my power rankings that we talked about and the odds for the futures and things like that. I don't think that this is um, uh, a game that, even though it's a home game for Indianapolis, it's another game just like the Carolina Jacksonville game. I hate picking the winner of this game. I have honestly no clue which one of these teams are actually going to win the game. I'm going to lean on Miami and Tua coming together and doing it. I think that Tyreek may get loose once or twice in the game. Devon Achane is still a beast when it comes to just high speed, high impact. And I don't think that Daniel Jones is as scary as um, I forgot his name, but the other quarterback, the guy that got benched anyway, he's younger, he's not as polished, but he can make plays out of nothing. I am going to lock in Miami +1.5. I think that they win the game outright. I think that Miami should be favored in this game with Daniel Jones as a starting quarterback. I'm locking in again. This is my 100% strongest lock of the week, Miami +1.5. I think that it should probably be Miami -1.5, maybe even -2. Um, Not really sure where that came from, that Miami's not favored in that game. But nonetheless, Tennessee at Denver. Nope, sorry, it's the next game. Um, I'm one way. We're going Las Vegas at New England. So Las Vegas coming across the country, West Coast to East Coast. That's always going to be a factor as well. Um, but it's week one, so it's not like they're coming off of a game. They've had plenty of rest after this last preseason game everybody's going to play. So the West Coast travel in week one isn't that big a deal in my mind. Um, you got Pete Carroll out there and Geno Smith and a lot of new things. Austin Genty, is he going to do some stuff out there? I think he could be explosive. I think he could be an offensive rookie of the year, depending on what happens with Travis Hunter. And I mean, Cam Ward is the favorite for sure because he's a quarterback. But I think that if Travis Hunter stays on the defensive side of the ball, I think Austin Genty has the best chance to be a non-quarterback to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Um, he's just a bad man for sure. And so we've got it where Patriots are favored, but the rankings that I have offer some value here on the Raiders. I think the Raiders probably end up winning this game. I don't like picking so many away teams, but it's week one. Um, if this was week 3 or 4 and it was a West Coast to East Coast travel after a game, we'd have to factor in that stuff. The amount of rest, I don't think the travel is going to be an issue. I really like what they're doing out there in Vegas. And I don't know with New England. I just don't have very good vibes. I'm leaning +3 for the Las Vegas Raiders, but I'm going to pick them to win in my parlay. Give me a little bit of plus money as well, right? They got what +124 on the money line. So it's nice to pick a couple of these dogs. +110 here. Carolina is going to be a +130, right? So if I pick a couple of these dogs in that parlay as my winners, it's going to make my parlay a little bit better. They just have to come through. We'll see if they do. Moving on. Now we're getting into the 4 o'clock game. We're getting into the afternoon games. So these are games that I'll actually be able to watch a little bit more. Of course, I'll be watching Washington play New York and dialed into that game. So all those other 1 o'clock games, um, I'll be relying on watching some film and things like that to get some feedback and going over some highlights and going over the box scores. But I will absolutely have all 4 of these late games on my TV at the same time. Tennessee and Denver, good game. #1 pick overall. Last year, rookie quarterback Bo Nix. So it's 2 new quarterbacks, 2 new coaches for the most part. I guess not. I guess Sean Payton's been out there in Denver for a little while. He kicked Russell Wilson to the curb. How'd that work out? Pretty good for him. Denver's favored by 7.5. Denver was kind of the Cinderella pick along with Washington last year. Bo Nix was a big surprise. Jayden Daniels not as much, even though Jayden Daniels had an amazing year there for a little bit. And then people were even talking about Bo Nix getting Offensive Rookie of the Year instead of Jayden Daniels. Obviously, that did not happen, nor should it have, in my opinion, biased or not. But Bo Nix did really good, right? Sean Payton found his guy and he picked him. I think the Broncos are going to build on the success that they had last year. They got some good pieces in place. They just paid Courtland Sutton. So they got a lot of good things going on. They're playing at home. They're playing against the worst team in the league last year, with a brand new quarterback, and a brand new coach, and everything else that goes along with that. I don't see any scenario where Tennessee wins this game. This is damn near a lock, except for it is 7.5 points. It reached over top of that magic number of 7. If you can find this at Denver -6.5, even Denver -7, I would probably lock this in. But at 7.5, which is what DraftKings has right now, I'm just a little bit shaky on that. and I will stay away from locking that one in. The 49ers and the Seahawks. 49ers are favored, but this is divisional. The under hits 60% of the time in divisional games, especially in week one. You got some injury concerns over there in San Francisco. You got Sam Darnold coming in over there in Seattle. Is Sam Darnold a good quarterback, or is maybe just Minnesota a really good place for him to play with guys like Justin Jefferson and TJ Hockenson, right? That's the question that everybody's going to ask. Um, I think it's probably the latter. I don't think that Sam Darnold's going to have a great showing out there in Seattle the way that he did in Minnesota. But I don't necessarily trust everything that's going on in San Francisco with injuries and potential injuries with some of the people that they have. Debo's not there anymore as well. So I don't like either one of these teams a whole lot right now. And honestly, I think their defenses are better than their offenses. So 44.5 is a big number for week one in the NFL for two teams. They're probably going to struggle a little bit on defense and try to probably control the clock a little bit. So my lean is 100% going to be um, under 44.5. I'm going to go ahead and pick Seahawks in this game just because they are home and you got the 12th man. Um, we'll see how it goes. Houston Texans and the Los Angeles Rams should be a good game. CJ Stroud with his sophomore slump, but it wasn't really a sophomore slump. If you look at his stats, he actually had a decent year. He just was riddled with injuries in the receiving corps. So it's going to get held against him, right? Same thing will happen in Washington. A whole bunch of people get hurt. Oh, man, Jaden Daniels isn't as good as they thought he was. That's just the way that the media talks about it. CJ's legit. He's absolutely a top 10 quarterback. He's a good guy. Um, he's out there. He's balling. He's doing good stuff. I just think that the Rams are a better team. I think the Rams are coached better. And I know that there are some concerns when it comes to the Rams and Matthew Stafford is back. This is week one. So he's going to have well over 2 weeks worth of rest before getting to this game. It's a home game. There's no travel involved for them. All those factors tell me that if I'm worried about Matthew Stafford's back, it's in week two, not in week one. I like the Rams in this game to win, and I'm leaning very close to a lock at the Rams minus 2.5. Um, the only reason why I think this isn't a lock is because of the concerns of his back. Um, but I still think that they're a good enough team to win this game outright and probably cover. Detroit and Green Bay. Detroit at Green Bay. The Lions are undervalued based on me. The Packers have a home edge, especially being in openers by history. They are favored by 1.5 points in this game, and I don't see why they are. I think that Detroit lost Ben Johnson and they lost their defensive coordinator as well. His name is slipping my head at this time, but nonetheless, lost them both. I think the systems are still in place. I think that Dan Campbell's still there. He's got the culture and the grit culture still there. I think that Detroit is one of the top 5 teams in the league, if not one of the top 3 teams in the league. I think that Detroit just had a really bad game against Washington, to be completely honest with you, in the playoffs. They probably should have won that game. This is the regular season now. This isn't the time that Detroit chokes in the playoffs. I don't think that Detroit, even as a road team, should be an underdog in this situation. I think that they should be favored. I 100% will lock in the Detroit Lions to win this game outright and lock in for another 2 units. Detroit plus 1.5. I honestly think that that should be the opposite way. Even on the road, I think that they should be favored by at least 1.5, if not 2 or 3. Baltimore and Buffalo, man, this is like team 3 and team 4 on my power rankings. Game 1 of the season, Sunday Night Football in Buffalo, right? man, it's going to be a lot of things going on. Bills Mafia is going to be uh, pumping. I think it's going to be a high-powered situation. I think that um, Lamar may feel like, damn, I should have had the MVP. I think what's his name? Josh Allen is going to want to build on his. There's a lot of stuff going on in this. I think it's an offensive game. Um, really, really, really hard to pick. Very, very close. Um, I would say that the over is projected 65% of the time in ESPN. I am leaning the over. I'm almost going to lock in by by the end of the week, Sunday Night Football. But when it gets closer, by Thursday or Friday of that week, I may look at it. If it's getting closer to 50, I think that at 49 and a half, it's a lock. At 50 and a half, it may damn well be a lock. 51 and a half, I'm still going to lean over. Who am I going to pick in this situation? I'm just going to go with the home team. I trust Josh Allen and his arm a little bit more than I trust Lamar and his arm. Their their legs aren't equal by any stretch of the imagination. But I think in a shootout, I'm going to trust Josh Allen against anybody other than Patrick Mahomes. That should almost be a lock. I kind of want to lock that in. I'm not going to, though, because I'm going to go with my numbers. Um, the over 51 and a half, I do really like that. Minnesota and Chicago is the Monday night game. It's the last game of week one, wrapping everything up. Um, Minnesota has JJ McCarthy is a quarterback now. He's basically a rookie. Um, I think he was probably overdrafted just a little bit last year, but honestly, when you look at it, when you look at Nix and you look at Penix and you look at um, Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams, and JJ McCarthy, and there was another guy that, again, his name's, I don't have a script here, guys. I'm just shooting off the cuff. But nonetheless, Drake May. So six quarterbacks, right? I don't necessarily know that there has been a miss. Is JJ the miss? I don't know. Caleb could be the miss, to be completely honest with you. It's the number one overall pick. Both of those guys are in there. This is a divisional game. Chicago's at home. Chicago, and I just got Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, week one. I think that they're out there and they're going to prove it, right? I think that Caleb has got it set in his head that he's going to throw for 4,000 yards this season. I hope that he throws for more yardage than his punter punts. He didn't last year. Man, that Hail Mary really screwed them up. They were just a different team after that Hail Mary. If you remember correctly, the first part of the season, Chicago was a pretty good team. That was two really good teams going into that week. It just so happens that after that week, after that Hail Mary, Chicago just fell off the map completely. You know, a little bit of plus money. I'm going to lean Chicago on the money line here. I just think at a point and a half, home team. Um, if it's a coin toss, I can get plus 105 versus me having to pay minus 108 to get that point and a half. I'll go ahead and take the plus money. That's why I'm going to lean on the money line. I will go ahead and pick Chicago as well. So I'm locking in Detroit plus 1.5. I'm locking in Miami plus 1.5. I'm locking in Pittsburgh and New York Jets under 37.5. And I'm locking in Kansas City -3. Again, my parlay is going to be Philadelphia, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Washington, Pittsburgh, Arizona, Atlanta, Carolina, Miami, Las Vegas, Denver, Seattle, LA, Detroit, Buffalo, and Chicago. 16 games. No way in hell that I hit it. I understand that. If I can get 14 or 15 out of 16, I'm doing a whole lot better than all you jokers out there. I bet you. But we'll see how they go. Fade them how you want them. Pick them how you want them. agree, disagree, comment, do whatever you want, man. At the Tuesday, September 9th, we'll hop on in. We'll see how I did, see the winners, see the losers, show you the payouts, and who got plus money, who got minus money, win or lose for week one. Start working on bets for week two. Till then, you guys have a good one.